Welcome, Aquarius, to your in-depth weekly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for week commencing the 11th of May for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Going to share the big themes of the week ahead, first of all. Then on screen, your adventure on Monday always provides an influential backdrop. I'll then go through each of the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what you can expect in terms of your energy, work, relationships, and finance. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. The sign of Taurus is very much about the earthy foundations of our world. Can be in an emotional context, as it is for you, but it can also be in a physical context where we live, our everyday finance, but also our appreciation of our immediate environment. And that all comes right to the center of your focus this week. It may not sound particularly sexy, but it is going to be an important week as a transition point to really get the fundamentals in your world reset so you can move forwards and flourish, particularly when the sun moves into Gemini later this month. So on the screen now is your event chart. And there's the sun in the practical sign of Taurus, but for you in that fourth house. So the fourth house in a more emotional sense is how we feel about things. Can be to do with that immediate environment, but can be to do with where we live. So who you live with, how you live with them, or where you live can all be themes this week. But what we have at the very beginning of this week, Aquarius, is that the moon, which is the swiftest mover in the sky, forges a quick but perhaps dislocating right angle to Uranus, your modern ruler. It actually occurs late on Sunday, early Monday morning, but there's the moon in the sign of Pisces, and there's Uranus. Maybe you're going to think about something you're tempted to speculate on. And it could be something that's a bit counterintuitive as far as security is concerned, because that's what the sun in the sign of Taurus is very much about. It's about trying to create that situation where you feel really safe. However, that's soon going to make way because the sun's forging one of astrology's most lovely links with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter in Cancer is exalted, and of course, it's an emotional location, but for you, it's very practical, the sixth house. How do we feel about that? So essentially, your life structure and routines have to feel right for you. But if you are living somewhere which is a little noisy, a little too quiet, a little too untidy, maybe too big if the kids have left the nest, you get a chance to think about how you might find some outcomes that can be positive, and that's Jupiter, but it may require some kind of fine tuning, the sixth house, but also being in touch with how you feel. So, for example, sometimes people will stay in the house where their parents lived, even after they've passed, because that feels right, which is absolutely understandable. Other people will want to completely rebirth their life and move on. We're all different. But if you have been waiting for some kind of home improvements, or you have been waiting for a contractor to turn up and help with a particular task, things can suddenly accelerate this week, which can be very pleasing indeed. But Mercury, the planet of thought and talk, can be a little bit tongue-tied in the fourth house. And in the earthy sign of Taurus, is much more focused about thinking rather than perhaps speaking. But Mercury, as this week moves on, also links very strongly to Jupiter. If you offer a service from the comfort of your home or in your local community, the chances are that whatever it is that you do can just reach out to people more effectively. Other people can share good will about you, feedback, which can be helpful to evolve your enterprise. But the fourth house can also be about family matters and about very tender matters. And the new moon, which occurs in this sign on Saturday, is a chance to reset. But it doesn't mean to say that everything's perfect, because if you think back over the last 7 years, Uranus, your modern ruler, has been skittling through that fourth house and at times making things anything but stable. So even if you're dealing with a situation which is not perfect, where people have been disappointing or disloyal, or there has been disruption about where you live, I think what you can gain this week is starting to see how it can go forwards. And the new moon helps you to set your intentions of how you would like that forward motion to play out. So I'm not suggesting it may be perfect, but it can move in the right direction. But what you do have this week is that Venus in your sister air sign of Gemini, very bubbly, very playful, and very social, very vivacious, is going to be forging a closer and closer sextile with Mars in the part of your chart to do with how you articulate messages. So even though Mercury at the start and middle of this week may be a bit reluctant to fess up some very tender issues. If you're talking about something that you're enthusiastic about, or it's more playful, or maybe it's more flirty because you really fancy someone, then things can really move forwards at pace there too. But I take you back to the earlier point. Everything has to feel right. Run it through that prism. If things don't feel right, don't do them. And for air signs, I'm obviously a multiple Aquarius too. And for air signs, it's not always easy to be in touch with emotion because it's much easier to be logical. So how things feel is really important this week and can be blessed if you let that energy in. But by the end of the week, Mercury moves to join up with Uranus in Gemini, and you could get a spark. It may be a brilliant idea. It could be a bit of a laugh you have with someone. By the 21st of the month, you're going to be going out and interacting with people in a much more bubbly way. And something could happen before then if there's someone you really like, but it all has to feel right. And make sure whether you work from home or your home is mainly to just sleep and rest in, that it is an environment that's very pleasing. So if there's anything that needs to be repaired, renewed, rejuvenated, go for it at pace over the following month from that new moon. So now I'm going to summarize those 4 areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances. Now, if you've yet to watch your Uranus Cazimi 78-year, 1-year forecast, that's the first time in Gemini there's been a Uranus Cazimi, that video, please see that on the screen. If you've yet to watch your monthly forecast for May, that's on the screen as well. You can now buy your personal horoscopes and get 3 for the price of 1. So that's 3 for 1. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that have played out in our lives so far, get a more intimate understanding of them, and work with those energies future forwards in a more effective way. But free, you get your 12 months transits based on your unique birth data and also your draconic soul analysis, which has a different way of looking at astrology through the eyes of the North Node. So very much about fate. So that's 3 for the price of 1. I've been doing this full time for 30 years, been interested in astrology since I was 14, and I want to share the power of natal astrology with more people. So please see below for that. Now, if you've yet to sign up for your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, please do so now and get your early day cosmic pit stop. And if you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonial below. But to summarize around those 4 areas. So as far as your energy is concerned, I think there could be a jagged moment right at the start of this week, Aquarius, but I think most of all for you, it's important at the moment to feel that your emotion. So I'm going to summarize those four areas, Aquarius, of energy, work, relationships, and finances. And I think for things to really work well for you this week, you need to be in touch with how things feel. If you're in a peaceful place or surrounded by nurturing people, your week can go exceptionally well. If you're coming out of a long period of disruption and real difficulties around your home or family life, this is the start of a new beginning for you, which can be blessed with a much better outcome than you might imagine. When it comes to your work, I think that that creative side of your nature is always a big thing, but you're also a pragmatist. But I think your communicational skills have to shine. But again, if you're working with people where you don't particularly enjoy the atmosphere, think of changing that job. As far as your relationships are concerned, I think some flirty stuff is possible towards the end of this week. But in an existing relationship, the more you're in tune with each other emotionally, the better it is. And as far as money is concerned, I think that Venus can bring blessings to you around finances, but it can be particularly evident around about the 10th of June. So you're working towards something at the present time. So keep the faith. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week, Aquarius, and look forward to seeing you again soon.